It was emotional love for the person who I believe to have been the most integrity-nurtured, honest, incorruptible, and right-driven.
Breach of protocol, man apologizes for overzealousness.
This group has been assigned with the responsibility to conduct an assessment.
President Muhammadu Buhari formally receives interim report on coronavirus and the economy.
Nigeria has recorded still just 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19.
Nigeria soon to record 0 statistics on coronavirus as Minister of Health says index case is stable and his contact case negative.
All these are coming together, especially at a time when people felt we cannot hold festivals again.
Excitement as the 2020 Argungu International Fishing and Cultural Festival gradually reaches its crescendo. Hello and welcome to the news at 9 on NTA, reaching you live from Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. I am Jummai Yusuf. As we stare the news shape tonight, Naomi Abuago will join us in Maiduguri, as well as Felicia in Jos. Thanks for joining us. We begin with the Argungu Fishing Festival as facts has emerged revealing reasons why Mohammed Jamilu Gundari breached protocol to approach President Muhammadu Buhari during the agricultural show in Argungu on Thursday. At a media briefing in Argungu, Gundari said his action was an expression of excitement upon seeing his lifetime role model for the first time. Anthony Forson reports.
30-year-old Mohammed Jamilu Gundari is a graduate of public administration from the Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto. He is the man said to have attacked President Muhammad Buhari. His story has gone viral, but here he is, hale and hearty, to tell the true story.
As a graduate of public administration who graduated with second-class lower, just 3 points away from first class, it took a lot of risks to attempt to get the attention of Mr. President, despite the fact that there is well-planted security architecture within the venue. But I'm sorry for the disturbances I caused. It was emotional love for the person who I believe to have been the most integrity-nurtured, honest, incorruptible, and right-driven. Everybody in this place and beyond, Nigeria I'm talking about, and the wider world, has never questioned the consistency, the integrity, the honesty, the righteous position of Mr. President on either national issue or even his own personal life. No one ever questioned whether national resources, whether the material resources this country has was ever squandered even by one single naira margin by Mr. President. This is the reason, this is the prerequisite, these are the instincts, these are the values, these are the things that carry my heart to Mr. President. And I let you know, even if I was there yesterday, I met and I achieved the best and the most held ambition to one day meet Mr. President.
He was quick to also appeal to the media to exercise restraints and cross-check facts before publication.
Press, your misinterpretation of the events. Please, I am alive. The DSS has never tortured me. Nobody, even apart from the within the premises, for me to get to the car, that this thing has happened. Nobody ever tortured me.
At this point, Kebbi State Governor and Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, who is in Argungu for the festival, assured him of an audience with his idol, President Muhammad Buhari.
It is my honor and pleasure to present a book written by John Pardon on Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to an ardent Buharist, and to assure him that the Honorable Minister of Information and I will inform Mr. President and will beg Mr. President to grant an audience for you so that one day you will visit him.
Stories about him trying to attack Mr. President or Mr. President is false.
even the story that he has been shot by the police and DSS is false. This young man's only ambition is to see Mr. President and commend Mr. President for what he's doing.
Anti-insurgency, NTA News.
Quite an emotional feeling there. Nigeria has formally recognized Umaru Sissoco Embalo as president of Guinea-Bissau. This came to light when President Muhammadu Buhari accorded a befitting reception to the new leader of the West African nation at the presidential villa. State House correspondent Adumo Sombo has details.
This is the third time the new leader of Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, is visiting President Muhammadu Buhari since he was declared elected on January 1st by the nation's electoral body, the CNE. Although the election was later disputed, Umaru Sissoco Embalo formally took over the reins of power on February 27, shortly after the country's interim president resigned. This red carpet reception for him by President Muhammadu Buhari clearly indicated Nigeria's formal recognition of his presidency. President Embalo, popularly referred to as the General, is here to say thank you to President Muhammadu Buhari for Nigeria's tremendous support and assistance towards stabilizing his country and preserving democratic ideals. And this is the focus of his media briefing after a closed-door meeting with the Nigerian leader on areas of common interest and the best way forward for Guiné-Bissau.
Nigéria já demonstrou ao povo da Guiné-Bissau solidariedade nos momentos mais difíceis.
Nigeria shows to the Guinean people the solidarity in the most difficult moments of our country. Therefore, we are aware that Nigeria is a reference for democracy in the whole world. We have always shown that democratic choice is the best way to resolve things. Once again, I thank you, Baba, my dad, for everything you've been doing. I will always come to Nigeria to ask for your advices and to the people of Nigeria.
The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, speaks on the significance of the high-level engagement between the two leaders.
This signifies the conclusion of the processes in their own country, and the fact of the recognition of the emergence of Embalo as a president, recognition duly given by the leaders of the sub-region, Senegal, Niger, which is ECOWAS chair, and Nigeria. Essentially, he's here to thank Nigeria and to thank our president for standing by him in his victory and for ensuring that democracy is sustained in their own country. The president was emphatic in this meeting. He's been emphatic on this all the time. The duty of stabilizing the West African sub-region is on the shoulders of African leaders, more importantly Nigeria, and the president will not be failing in this duty. Leaders of the sub-region will keep the region stable, politically, economically, and in terms of security. This is the assurance he has given.
The 47-year-old President Umaru Sissoco Embalo, a former army chief, served as Prime Minister of Guinea-Bissau between 2016 and 2018. He got elected president as opposition candidate in the second round of voting, beating another ex-Prime Minister in an election described as free, fair, and credible by the United Nations and other election observers. Guinea-Bissau, a country of less than 2 million people, has seen 9 coups or attempted coups since 1974. The immediate past president, Jose Mario Vaz, who crashed out of the last election won by President Embalo in the first round of voting, was the first head of state to carry out his term without being deposed. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Still with the presidency on efforts on the impact of the coronavirus on the economy, as the high-powered presidential committee set up to assess the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on the nation's economy has formally submitted an interim report to President Muhammadu Buhari. Chairman of the committee and Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed, however, told newsmen that the president directed the members to deepen consultations on the matter and report to him with an update next week.
We're looking at ways and means in which the revenue of government will be stabilized
and that we are able to fund the states through the FACT process at a level that is averagely expected and planned for in both the federal as well as the national budgets. So as we finish our consultations next week, we will be expecting some approvals, and then we will be meeting with you to inform you of the specific approvals that we have been able to obtain from His Excellency the President.
Of course, usually the product prices follow the crude oil price, but we're still consulting and we'll get back to you. Please be patient.
This group has been assigned with the responsibility to conduct an assessment. There's no need for anybody to think that, oh, government, whether federal or state, will not be able to conduct its activities. I can assure you that by the time we come back, notwithstanding, yes, there's a drop in the price of crude, we are going to come up with a mechanism that will make it possible, both for the federal and the state government, right, to be able to conduct their businesses. No doubt, yes, there will be areas where we'll say either defer because they are not so much of a priority, but I can assure you that we're thinking very seriously on this issue to ensure that the country is not so badly affected like it may affect others, and as a result, I'm saying no need for anybody to panic or worry. That's our job.
The Minister of Finance used the opportunity to announce that 285 billion naira capital allocation has so far been released from the 2020 budget to a number of agencies towards sustaining the provision of critical infrastructure.
Works and housing, Niger Delta, a number of ministries and agencies that have important infrastructure projects have got their funds. Also this week we have been able to release to the Ministry of Transport the counterpart funding that is required, provided for in our budget, that is required for the important railway projects that are currently ongoing with financing from the China Exim Bank. So there are funds that have been released this week. So in addition to the 285, there is up to about 220 million US dollars that have been released this week for counterpart funding for railway projects.
The second case of coronavirus disease in Nigeria, a contact of the index case, now tests negative to the virus, just as the index case is stable with high possibility of getting discharged by next week. Minister of Health, Dr. Osagi Ehenere, disclosed this at a news conference in Abuja. Health correspondent Rabi Abdullah reports that the minister also dwelt on the activation of the country's point of entry policy on prevention and control of cross-border transmission of yellow fever.
Nigeria has recorded still just 2 confirmed cases of COVID-19 with no deaths. 1 case is now negative and will be discharged from care, while the other will follow in a few days. After 14 days of follow-up with no symptoms, all contacts of the index case, both in Ogun State and Lagos State, will be allowed to go home and rejoin society.
Call it a nerve-calming development for the country's coronavirus disease status, and you won't be wrong. Coming at a time the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. A group of 4 children and their teacher who flew in from the United States and said to have shared space with a confirmed case over there, he disclosed, tested negative and are currently observing the 14-day self-isolation period.
The Federal Ministry of Health is monitoring the global situation closely and seeking advice from the World Health Organization. The ministry, through the Port Health Services, will continue to prioritize measures for containment of COVID-19, especially screening of passengers at the point of entry. Due to the COVID-19 outbreak, the Federal Ministry of Health reviewed the policy to allow passengers without yellow card or proof of vaccination to board their flight to Nigeria, with the understanding that they will be given yellow fever vaccination on arrival at our point of entry.
The minister advised the public against the spread of misinformation. Nigeria, he explained, has not placed a travel ban, but has, however, issued travel advisory on 5 COVID-19 worst hit countries of China, Italy, Iran, Korea, and Japan. In Abuja, Rabi Abdullah, NTA News.
Meanwhile, as part of its preventive measures against COVID-19, otherwise known as coronavirus, Katsina State Government has provided 20 hectares of land at Ajiwa Village for the construction of a befitting emergency relief center for the effective preventive measures against the killer disease in the state. Mohammed Salisu Awa reports on these and other measures taken by the state government against coronavirus.
In Katsina State, the 20 hectares of land donated by the state government is to consist different offices and isolation center where victims of the disease will be admitted for treatment. Similarly, the multi-million naira center is to have a laboratory, emergency wards, conference hall for enlightenment campaigns, among others. Commissioner of Health Katsina State, Yakubu Nuhu Danja, said Katsina State government has taken concrete measures for the prevention against the viral disease. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Kabir Mustafa, stressed the need for improvement on public health, especially at rural areas, and called for the usage of sanitizers in hand washing and avoidance of careless sneezing in the public.
The state has, since the announcement of the first outbreak of, or the first identified case of COVID in Nigeria, had been on red alert, just like I said, through our disease notification offices in all the 34 LGAs. A visit to a public school in Katsina revealed how students use sanitizers as preventive measures against any communicable disease. In Katsina, Mohammed Salis Awal, NTA News.
This is the Mala Riverside, where the Kabanchi display was held. The event showcased the strength and dexterity of the Argungu people and their prowess as a people whose lives revolves around water. So here, there is the men and women bare hand fish catching contest. Two-man canoe race, men swimming with clear pots balanced on their heads. Water relay, diving, save their soul swimming, among others.
It's something that we all look forward to show our capacity, our cultural heritage, and additionally our agricultural diversity, so that all these are coming together, especially at a time when people felt we cannot hold festivals again. Is very, very illustrative and inspiring. It reflects the courage of the people, the strong leadership that is provided by President Muhammadu Buhari that has regenerated confidence in the security of the country.
We must not look at this festival from the viewpoint of entertainment or culture alone. What we've witnessed today, since 3 days ago, is culture, is sports, is agriculture, and is science. But what has impressed me most today are those young girls and boys who swam 160 meters. And I've never seen anything like that. And then look at the endurance test for diving.
I am happy. We thank God. We thank our government. We thank His Excellency the President Muhammadu Buhari for gracing it and declaring it open yesterday. I am a very happy person. I believe every person in Argungu is happy. The entire leadership of KB is here, and everyone you look at is happy and excited with what is happening today.
With a record as one of the 4 Nigeria's inscribed elements of the representative list in intangible cultural heritage of humanity by the UNESCO, it has put Argungu and Kebbi State as a whole on the global map of cultural heritage. From Argungu, Anti-insurgency, NTA News.
And indeed, a tourist delight. Now talking security. The Nigerian Air Force says the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has destroyed a Boko Haram terrorist meeting venue at Kadi Wanzama on the fringes of the Sambisa Forest in Borno State. A statement by NAV Director of Public Relations and Information Air Commando Ibikule Daramola says this was achieved on March 8, 2020 in the latest series of attacks under the ongoing NAV Operation Decisive Edge, sequel to intelligence intelligence missions, which established that the Kadi Wanzama settlement, known for active interconnecting tracks linking various terrorist locations, was being used as a Boko Haram terrorist staging post for planning attacks. The Air Task Force then engaged the location, completely destroying the target compounds within the settlement. The airstrikes also eliminated several of the Boko Haram terrorists at their hideout in the target structures, further contributing to the attainment of the overall mission of Operation Decisive Edge, which is to destroy Boko Haram terrorists before they can swap on our troops or innocent citizens. The Nigerian Air Force says it will continue to carry out air interdiction missions. Now to the legislation. House of Representatives Committee on Army has assured the people and government of Borno of its support in the quest to end insurgency in the northeast. This was brought to the fore when the committee, led by its chairman Abdulrazak Namdas, called on Governor Babagana Umara Zulum at the Government House Maiduguri on a working visit to the state. Mohammed Goni reports.
The Federal House of Representatives Committee on Army was in the state at the instance of the House to, among other things, investigate the attack on Auno community, which led to loss of lives and property, condole and interact with the bereaved families, as well as offer recommendations on how to avoid future occurrence. Chairman House Committee on Army Abdulrazak Namdas said the House of Representatives is worried by the incident.
As a committee, we want to commend you for the good job you've been doing for the armed forces. You have provided so many equipments, vehicles, and so many assistance to the armed forces, and even in particular, the people of Borno State. We want to say on record that for me and your committee, Professor Babagana Zulum, you are one of the best governors, if not the best.
The chairman further noted the sacrifices of the military personnel in the counter-insurgency operations, stressing that the leadership at all levels need to encourage them. Governor Babagana Umara appreciated the Federal House of Representatives for its continued support towards ending the insurgency. The governor raised concern about the resurgence of attacks and expressed the need to take the war to the enclaves of the insurgents, building trust between the civil populace and the military, as well as allow farmers access to their farmlands.
Visit to that particular place is very important because that will increase the confidence between the people and the house.
The governor and the delegation later went into a closed-door session. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
The emerging trends in armed banditry, kidnapping and armed robbery in some states in the north is putting the Nigerian police on its toes. It is against this background that a strategic police managers meeting to assess the overall internal security activities was convened in Abuja. Francis Form reports.
The AIGs, the CPs.
This is the first of such meetings this year, aimed at reviewing the current internal security situation in the country, evaluate emerging threats and evolve new strategies to curtail them.
At no time had our nations required our dedication, commitment, resilience and professionalism than now. Consequently, I charge you all to continue to provide courageous and knowledge-driven leadership that is required to advance the attainment of our internal security mandate.
Also on the table for deliberation and implementation is the concept of community policing, approved recently by the federal government.
The committees are also expected to identify the security challenges peculiar to their communities and partner with the local police in formulating plans that will mitigate the challenges. The community policing officers are to deal with and resolve low-level security issues without necessarily resorting to police stations, unless the issue is of serious legal and security consequences and require police intervention.
Emblem for the 2020 Police Week was also unveiled during the meeting. In Abuja, Francis from NTA News.
From the judiciary, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered the Inspector General of Police and the Director General of the Department of State Security to ensure that the freedom of movement of dethroned Mohammed Sanusi II is not curtailed. Justice Awoli Chikere gave the order following an ex parte motion filed by the applicant. Olabode Arewa reports.
The ex parte motion filed by Mohammed Sanusi II, referred to in court as Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, was filed on 8 grounds. He is challenging his banishment from Kano to Nasarawa State and the restriction of his movement after his dethronement. His counsel, Latif Fagbemi told the court that the 4 respondents, the Inspector General of Police, the DGDSS, the Attorney General of the Federation, and the Kano State government have no powers under Section 35 of the 1999 Constitution to deprive Sanusi of his liberty, since there are no criminal proceedings against him. The court, having heard the prayers, granted the other sorts and directed the respondents not to infringe on the applicant's rights to free movement anywhere in the country except Kano State. The court also ordered that its order and the originating motion be served on the respondents and adjourned the case to March 26 for further hearing.
When you have any problem, it is better sorted out in court than to resort to cordial or war. And this is why our client has taken the civilized way of approaching the court. We are happy for the courageous pronouncement of the court.
Sanusi was dethroned as the Emir of Kano on Monday by the Kano State government for alleged disobedience to constituted authorities. In Abuja, Olabo Darewa, NTA News.
As women continue to celebrate International Women's Day, global clamor for gender parity and more women inclusion in the political sphere has been reinforced. The 2020 International Women's Day provided the platform for organizations and professional bodies to further their cause.
Women achievers described as trailblazers. The Association of Professional Female Engineers is taking advantage of this year's event to honor women who have attained extraordinary heights in various fields of endeavor.
It really encouraged me to do more to support women.
Call for action on enabling the girl child.
Among the invitees were upcoming women and girls such as Okwon Ima Abasi, who were motivated by the event to achieve their dreams.
I actually want to be a mathematician. So when I saw all those women who, like the first general, the first governor, I got inspired to be like one of those women.
In this event here, I'm privileged to be among many professionals that are women.
The older ones are role models. We invited them so that they can see what women can become. So that as they are growing, even if they face any form of discrimination, they also have somebody to look up to.
There are of the view that when more women add their voices for more inclusion of women in leadership roles, as well as drumming support for fellow women during elections, the impact will be louder. In Abuja, Ngozi Silva, Technical, NTA.
Welcome back. Lagos Deep Offshore Logistics LADO has expanded its capacity to cargo handling and logistics in the region. This was made possible by a partnership with a global leader in heavy lifting and transport specialist, Mohammed. Dotun Ogunyemi reports on the groundbreaking ceremony that held at the company's headquarters in Apapa, Lagos.
It is a milestone for Nigeria's Lagos Deep Offshore Logistics LADO as it continues to increase local capacity through improved construction solution strategies in the region. The partnership with Mammoth, a premier heavy lift company from Holland, now makes LADO the biggest heavy lift terminal in West Africa for the transportation of heavy cargoes using Mammoth's crane fleet and project management services.
The impact is going to be great for the Nigerian economy. It's going to mean that we're going to have more imports into Nigeria. We'll be able to do projects that we lose out to Cameroon or to Ghana or to Senegal. You know, those cargoes will come through facilities such as LADO.
The installed shore crane has the capacity to load up to 600 tons of cargo from non-geared cargo vessels for fast, reliable, comprehensive and cost-effective results. With presence in all the continents across the globe, Mammoth is bringing its over 50 years expertise and engineering strength to Nigeria.
The projects are getting bigger in Nigeria as Nigeria grows, and this is where we come in, and we hope to be able to play a part in it and support in the growth.
This collaboration, LADO CEO says, will improve direct impact on jobs.
Now we have the capacity to make any heavy lift possible, because if the cranes we have on ground can't do it, Mammoth will bring in the crane that can.
Ladol is gaining popularity as the blueprint for sustainable industrialization in Africa, serving the non-oil and gas companies in the sector. In Lagos, Dotsun Ukmiyemi, NTA News.
As part of efforts to tackle global low price due to coronavirus pandemic, Bala Wunti, Managing Director PPMC, has been deployed to NAMPIMS, a subsidiary of the NNPC overseeing the corporation's joint upstream investment with major oil producing companies in Nigeria. Lydia Sampson has more.
Bala Wunti and Musa Lawal have served the NNPC in high and specialized capacities for years. The announcement by the corporation of their swap was received by both with the resolve to continue to consolidate on foundations laid in their former assignments.
It's the fact that for the first time in the history of Nigeria, we've been able to bring to the fore in transparent manner with all tracking of the molecule that is imported into this country, right from the mother vessel all the way to the depot. That we've been able to achieve through the operation wide, based on the directive of the group managing director, that we should imbibe the principle of TEP, transparency, accountability, and performance excellence.
I'm hoping on the processes, the ISO certification, very important. If you are going to have somebody to ISO certify you, that it's fantastic. That will help in setting up a process that will outlive us.
Bala Wunti was the pioneer general manager, NNPC efficiency unit between 2016 and 2017. Bala is tapping into his new NAPIMS assignment at a crucial period of low oil price arising from the coronavirus catastrophe. Pulling down costs of producing the barrels, the NNPC GMD said is imperative for the nation. Various speakers at the handover are optimistic that the efficiency and corporate strategy background of Wunti will be handy in his new role, where he is expected to entrench efficiency. With experience spanning close to 30 years, Wunti, the initiator of Operation White, a system put in place to promote transparency and accountability in the distribution of petroleum products across the country, is described by his colleagues as an accomplished oil and gas technocrat. Musa Lawal, on the other hand, is an expert in petroleum law. The new MD PPMC was called to the bar in 1994. He served in various capacities and rose to become the GGM NAPIMS. For staff of the organization, both Bala Wunti and Musa Lawal are assets to the NNPC. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
For more reports, let's join Naomi Apuagu in Maiduguri. Hello, News.
And welcome to Maiduguri. Borno State Government has stressed commitment to settle outstanding pension arrears and prompt payment of pensioners' entitlements. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum made the commitment when he personally conducted verification exercise of pensioners who missed the last verification exercise conducted in the state. Muhammad Guni reports.
Part of the strategy adopted to address the lingering issues relating to biometric data capture and verification conducted by the previous administration was setting up of an appeal committee to receive complaints from dissatisfied employees. Professor Bagana Umara was at Musa Usman's secretariat, where he personally conducted fiscal verification of some pensioners who have issues in the last exercise conducted, with some not receiving their entitlement for months, after which 1 month pension arrears was given to each of the verified pensioners to pave the way for a regular payment. The governor assured the pensioners that government will look into all the issues relating to their entitlement and further advise those who did not fill and submit their pension forms to do so.
Today, personally, I'm here to decide over the verification of these pensioners with the view to determine whether they are due for payment or not. Inshallah, all those found worthy for payment arrangements shall be made for their payments without delay.
Some pensioners at the verification conducted expressed joy over the exercise, which they believe will bring an end to their ordeal. The verification exercise and the payment were made simultaneously. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Koni, NTA News.
Borno State government has inaugurated a high-powered committee to monitor fish business following lifting of the ban on processing and marketing of the commodity by the Nigerian military. Governor Babagana Omar Zulum inaugurated the committee at the Government House, Maiduguri, with a call on members to rise up to the task of ensuring that the fishing business does not favor the insurgents. Muhammad Guni again reports.
With the relative peace attained on the shores of the Lake Chad, attention has now shifted to resettlement of communities, including Baga, with commencement of clearance of dislodged settlement and major roads leading to communities. The Nigerian Army, in collaboration with the Borno State government, saw the need to lift the ban on fish processing and marketing to allow for socio-economic activities to resume on the shores of the Lake Chad Basin, as a mechanism to check the activities of the fish marketers and those involved in the trade, and to ensure that revenues accrued from the fish business does not get to the insurgents. The high-powered committee under the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice was inaugurated. Professor Bagana Umara charged the committee to ensure the sustainability of the fish business.
The task ahead of you is very important. There is need for you to work assiduously with a view to ensuring that the processing and marketing should not be also banned in the future.
Chairman of the committee, Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Kakasha Ulawan, assured to live up to expectation by ensuring that revenues are paid to Borno State government and that those in the habit of using the fish business to fund insurgency are identified and prosecuted according to law. Until the time it was dislodged by the Boko Haram insurgents, Baga community in Kuka local government, known to be the largest fish market in the northeast, provided jobs to the teeming youth, not only in Borno, but to those who came from other parts of the country. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Koni, NTA News.
That's it from Maiduguri. It's back to Jummai for more stories on Network News.
The federal government is set to sustain deliberate efforts in initiating schemes that will guarantee employment generation and enhance productivity of Nigerians. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami stated this at the distribution of microloans to 1,500 women and youth in Kebbi State by the National Directorate of Employment, NDE. Nura Tanko Wakili has the report.
The minister said empowering Nigerians with microloans for boosting small-scale businesses underscored the federal government's commitment to take 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. He said women and youth constitute a significant percentage of the country's population and must be economically productive and socially responsible to contribute to the meaningful national development. Abubakar Malami said Empower, Anko Baruwas, homegrown school feeding and other related programs are all geared towards achieving sustainable growth and development. The Minister of State Labor and Employment, Mr. Festus Kiyamo, in a message delivered by Director General NDE, Dr. Nasir Laden, said the loan is part of NDE's small-scale enterprises program aimed at boosting productivity of the targeted group.
Each one of them will have a direct cash backing of interest-free loan of 20,000 naira each, so that they can add up to their various businesses. They have 2 months resting period before they start paying. And the payment rate is just 233 naira.
Some beneficiaries who commended the initiative behind the program promised judicious use of the fund. In Birnin Kebbi, Nura Tanko Wakili, NTA News.
And from Kebbi, we joined Felicia in our Jos Network Center to give us the next set of reports from that axis. Hello, Felicia.
Hello, Jummai. Welcome to Jos. As issues of suicide among Nigerian youths continue to raise concerns, medical psychologists lend their voices on the need for the implementation of programs to build life skills among young people to enable them cope with life challenges. This came to fore at a one-day training on suicide response and resilience organized by the Jos University Teaching Hospital, JUF. Ashezigo Pep report.
Suicide is a serious global public health issue affecting all ages, sexes, religion and race of the world. Worried especially with recurring cases of suicide is the reason the Suicide Response Unit of JUF organized the training, as well as creating awareness on the growing incidence of suicide in and around our communities.
Sadness could be a normal emotional feeling, but when it becomes pathological and the person is unable to do anything and has impairment in his daily life and activities, then he needs to see a mental health specialist.
In a lecture on depression, suicide and resilience, experts proposed the implementation of programs among young people to build life skills which will enable them cope with life stresses and to identify early, manage and follow up people at risk of suicide.
About 25% of Nigerians actually believe that suicide is as a result of mental illness. And unfortunately, our laws do not even help us.
Other speakers commended the initiative, charging participants to step down the knowledge. In Jos, Ashezugo Pep, NTA News.
In a related development, wife of the Plateau State Governor, Regina Lalong, has advised youths in the state to abstain from the use of drugs so as to be productive members of the society. The advice came during the campaign against drug abuse organized by youths at Federal Locust Jos in collaboration with Switch Foundation. Alisa Botukai Andrew reports.
The campaign is aimed at enlightening the youths on the dangers of use of substance and the consumption of illicit drugs being one of the major causes of poverty and unproductiveness among youths. Wife of the Plateau State Governor, Regina Lalong, represented, said, as part of efforts in reshaping the future, plans are on the way to train rehabilitated youths in various skills and trades towards socio-economic empowerment. The youths were cautioned on the dangers of drug abuse, which include loss of self-control, risks of contracting infection, mental retardation, and death.
You are young minds, you are beautiful children, you are the future of our country, Nigeria. We should all fight the intake of illicit drugs. We should stay away from them.
Coming out en masse today to sensitize federal locals about drugs. Let the youth know the effects of using these drugs.
The campaign climaxed with prayers for youths to be productive for a purposeful development of the state and country. In Jos, Alisa Botukai Andrew, NTA News.
That does it from Jos. Jummai is back to you in Abuja for more on Network News.
Thank you, Felicia. It was doomsday for illegal operators of television stations in Aba, Abia State, following a swap by officials of the Nigerian Copyright Commission, NCC. Caleb Ogbona reports that the crack team left in its trail 2 casualties.
2 television stations, MCA and PBS, were raided and found to be violating the copyright law. Decoders and other relay equipment used for illegal operations were there confiscated. Chief Copyright Officer Kinsley Okudiri, who led the team, said the raid by NCC is complementary to the federal government's fight against corruption.
Yes, and MCI, what they do is that they buy decoders of those people that bought the right and rebroadcast. What they do is rebroadcasting, and this is wrong. It is corruption.
Staff of both stations, which were shut down by the NCC team, declined comments. In Aba, Caleb Ogbona, NTA News.
Sports and audio reports when we return after this break.